Hello. Good to see you. Amanda.
Yeah?
Unless you want to yours.
I can do that. I can do that. You don't mind doing that. You don't need the income.
No, I
Mine
don't.
probably won't work either, but if yours isn't working, but.
Well, it's only because I have to think of what my password is, and I have it so automatic. I had all of my resources.
All right, I think I'm in. Let's see.
Okay, great.
I turned the mic on. So we have it on.
Okay, great. I told myself.
This is mine, not yours, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, no, here's mine.
Were you in,
This is the only thing that I have here.
which one? Okay, so were you in, so you were in Mozilla, Fairfax?
Oh, we were, because he has.
That's right. I'll go the other one. I'm very messy.
Did you want some refreshment? Yes, please. Sarah from the college department. Did you want something different? Did you want something different?
I was, no. I actually just came from Golden Corral. It's my daughter's birthday.
How old's your daughter?
You know what, you can turn on the
Eight?
fan.
Yeah.
That's a funny.
8 years. She's 29.
So you said you're going to be San Jose?
We're going to San Jose.
Look that up.
Why is elevation important?
Because mosquitoes are not present over 6,000 feet. It's not going to help you guys. I think you're at like 3,800, so I think it's a relatively small part. If you're in the mountains in Costa Rica, you don't have to worry about it so much.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming. I'm so excited about this. So for those of you I mean the first time or second time, I'm Renetta Tull, Associate Vice Provost here at UMBC, Director of the Commerce Program, and we are going to the LACCEI Conference Latin Caribbean Consortium of Engineering Institutions. Can they hear me, or do I need to speak up?
I think I can hear you.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I unmute the YouTube though, because it'll just be an echo. So.
Okay, the LACCEI conference. This is a conference that I have been attending for a couple of years, and I really like it because it is an opportunity to have an international.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. It's an opportunity. I mean, I really enjoy being there. They're very welcoming, and we did a little, I'll call it a little test, where we went to a couple of international conferences in different places, and I happened to find that the LACCEI conference was the most welcoming. Just in part of it, I think, is Latin American culture, but then the people who were involved were very welcoming, really wanted people to be there, etc. So the purpose of this session is to give you information, and for our viewers out there who weren't able to come, to give everyone information about what to expect about the conference. And I will give you a lot of information. We will ask questions, but I want to make sure that at least you all know who's here, so that when we go, it's not like you're traveling with a bunch of strangers, right? So I always tell people I'm a late bloomer. when it comes to traveling internationally. I did not get my passport until 2012, and the LACCEI conference in Panama was my very first time going overseas. And it was because the executive director of the conference, who you'll meet, Dr. Maria Lorando Petri, came to a talk that I had given at the SHIP conference, the Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers. And she said, I really like what you're doing, and you should come to our conference in Panama. And at the time, I was thinking, you know, I haven't been outside of the U.S. I've been to Puerto Rico, but I haven't been outside of the mainland. She said, you really should come. And I had a GA at the time who was from Panama. And he said, if you really want to go, and if there's money to take me to go, I will make sure that you have an excellent time. I'll introduce you to the people. I will, you know, make sure that you know the landscape, etc. And we did that. And it was so nice because his mom actually took off work for the whole time that I was there to make sure that I had a good time. I saw the city. I had 2 set of attributes. That was just fantastic. So the next year, we took people to Mexico. The year after that, we took people to Colombia. The year after that, we went to the Ecuador. And that was when we got the grant. I said, we need to take more people. So we took 15 people to Ecuador, Guayaquil, Ecuador, for the conference there. Last year, the funding, we didn't have so much, so we took a couple people to the Dominican Republic. And this year, because of the LACCEI program, which is helps to fund the Meyerhoff undergraduate program, as well as some final funds that we have from the International Engagement Program. And I had a talk with the program officer. He's like, all right, come on, you know, we're coming to the end of this grant. So he said, all right, we're going to do a big delegation. And the folks at LACCEI are really excited that our Maryland delegation is going to be here. So the conference this year is in San Jose, Costa Rica. So it's the main area of the capital, I believe, of Costa Rica. And let's do some quick introductions, and then I will introduce our guest speaker, and then we'll talk about the different things that we'll be doing while we're there. We're going to leave on Sunday, I think it's the 17th, and come back on the 23rd. Saturday. There will be 20 of us in total. Combination of people from UMBC, College Park, Bowie State, and UMES. I think that's right. Faculty, staff, graduate students. So let's start with Tate. Just kind of an introduction, and we'll go around.
Hi, I'm Tate. I am a computer science major at Bowie State here in Maryland. We have been involved with Promise since 2014.
Hello, my name is Jay. I am a recent grad in computer science from the state.
You're a computer science, you're a doctor. How about those things like that? You were a professor at UMES.
I'm going to be taking a postdoc at some research.
Exciting.
I'm Ashok Williams. I'm from UMBC. I graduated in December, actually, and we'll be going to RPI in the fall.
Oh,
so I'm going to mention some between things.
nice.
What? I was working at FDA since like January, so I graduated in December, and today was actually my last day there. So, yeah.
Okay, congratulations. No, that's great. That's great. My husband is an RPI alum, as is Dr. Rutledge, the dean of the graduate school. She's on the board of trustees.
What's your major?
In mechanical engineering.
All these indies.
Awesome. My name is Sadi Habib. I'm a mechanical engineering graduate student, PhD program. It's my 3rd year, and then my 3rd year should be in September. Former BDs.
And BD is LSAM from
First doctor.
Hello, my name is Maxim. I'm a 4th PhD student in mechanical engineering here at UMBC. I'm actually Sadi's colleague. We have the same advisor, Dr. Khan. And I'm very excited to participate in LACCEI, it's an international conference in Melbourne. Even though I've been to many countries around the globe, I've never been to Latin America before.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we have somebody else who just walked in the room who can give his introduction. Name and department, school.
My name is Roy Anderson. I recently graduated from UNBC with a degree in chemical engineering.
Another name.
I'll be going to Virginia Tech in the fall for graduate school in biomedical engineering.
Okay, so you'll be with Alicia?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, she's just coming back up to Maryland, but she'll be graduating. She'll be defending the fall.
All right. Well, excellent. Keontae was here yesterday for a session. So there will be 20 of us. So Roy, Hector Medina, who will be one of our sort of student mentors in the sense because he has been to at least 4 different LACCEIs as well as the WEEP conference, which is the World Engineering Education Forum. He also knows several of the people who are there. One of the forums that they have as part of LACCEI is called SPEED. It's an international organization called the Student Platform for Engineering Education Development. And they have branches in Latin America, in the United Arab Emirates, in India, very strong in India, and he knows a lot of those people. Yara Medina, who is also our program coordinator for Saudi. Mayela Page is going. Ashok. Sanji Jangha, who is the director of Math Science Upward Bound, but also one of the new co-PIs for the LACCEI program. Max, Tate, Jay. We have Gloria, who is a graduate student in computer science here at UMBC. Not computer science, she's human-centered computing at UMBC. She is working at IBM. I think she's at Almaden this summer, so she's going to be flying in. Myself, Adeboyega Kinchuku, who is a graduate student in human-centered computing. He was also an LSAP BD fellow. He's been to LACCEI before. A lot of the people who speak know him, folks from who are planning some of the activities. They know him very well. He is coming from Africa because he's doing his internship in the computer science program at the African Leadership University. So he's flying in, and we're trying to get his tickets together. Malik from College Park, Christopher from College Park, Elise Dunker from UMBC. David Delane is a new assistant professor at Ohio State in engineering education, but he's one of the co-founders of SPEED internationally. I had a chance to meet him when he was an LSAP BD fellow at Drexel at the White House because we had an LSAP session where they called all LSAP undergrads and BD fellows down to the White House for a special session several years ago. So this was years ago when Dr. Delane was a graduate student. He has since done a postdoc in Brazil, and he's going to be our sort of mentor in residence. He's coming from Ohio. He's going to be our mentor in residence there. Rosemary Parker from College Park, who runs the Center for Minorities in Science and Engineering. Michelle Udelli, who also runs the LSAP program there. And Tracy Bell, who is at UMBS, who runs the LSAP program at UMBS. So we're going to have a nice delegation. And Yara Medina, who's walked in, she's also been to several LACCEI conferences. She helped me to do a presentation last year at the Dominican Republic conference because there was a session that was bilingual, and so it was both in English and Spanish. The LACCEI conference is a bilingual conference, and so they will, if you don't speak Spanish or you want to take a break from the listening to Spanish, they will have headphones where you can listen. So I'm going to turn it over now to our special guest, Dr. Bruce Harmon, who is the director of our University Health Services here, and it was very important for him to come, and Yara helped to remind me that we really needed his expertise because, as we know, there has been a health issue in places like Costa Rica, and I'm one of those people who was affected when I was there in January. I found out that the mosquitoes there are different. I didn't contract Zika, but I was affected by the mosquitoes there, and I found out that I was allergic to the whatever brand of mosquitoes there are. So I kind of broke out and like dealing with it. But I learned that my Spanish is better than I thought. Communicate my medical needs on a daily basis to medical professionals. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Dr. Herman for our health piece, and then I'll get back to it.
Great. So I want to talk mostly about Zika, right? I put together a resource for all of you that you'll share with them, right? And I created just a little box folder that has some resources, both mostly from the CDC, but also from the EPA. It's probably the biggest takeaway message from this, right, is that you want to do everything that you can to make sure that you don't get bit. And mostly that means what? What are the two things you're going to do? Yeah, bug spray and covering yourself up with relatively heavy and/or heavy clothing, right? So you're going to be in Costa Rica, definitely Zika present. We were talking about elevation above about 6,500 feet of elevation. That's not an issue, but where you're going to be in Costa Rica, you're well below that, right? So you're going to want to be careful. The other way to stay clear of this is right, to be in an inside environment, right, with air conditioning, windows closed, screen, all that kind of stuff. So if you're not in that kind of environment, it's going to be really important to use good bug spray. The CDC suggests that you use EPA-approved bug sprays. The ones that are most likely to work in terms of not just against mosquitoes, but if you also want to guard against other things as well, is DEET. There are, it's DEET-based. They suggest that you use at least 20% DEET. You get kind of maximal coverage in terms of like time. If you go up to about 50% DEET. They talk examples that they give as some examples that are EPA approved are backwoods and off-DEET woods are two of the sort of well-known, sort of pretty high percentage DEET sprays. If you don't want to use DEET, there's also other alternatives that are EPA approved. Those will not probably protect you against things besides mosquitoes. There's also a lot of other alternatives that people like to use that aren't EPA approved, but the CDC suggests that if you're worried about Zika, then you stick with EPA approved alternatives. So on the link I gave you that has lists of other kinds of alternatives too, if you wanted to go the non-DEET route, again, recognizing that those won't help you with other bugs.
I actually do DEET and like I'm like really sweet. So mosquitoes love me when I travel, and so but I don't always have to put DEET in my face, so I'll do like very sweet because I have a really nice sweater on, and but I'll definitely like DEET up and over my clothes even because they'll still come, like not just on the skin, but I'll do a layer.
Right, you can put DEET on your clothing as well. There's pyrethrins you can also treat your clothing with. They suggest that you're doing those that you don't also put DEET underneath. I'm not sure exactly why that is. But the problem with those, CDC says some okay things about using pyrethrins that are to treat your clothing or buying clothes that are already treated. But Consumer Reports did some testing on this stuff. The problem is it doesn't tend to hold up very much after washing. And so you can buy these very expensive pieces of clothing that you have to either like retreat again or never wash in order for it to be effective. So I'm not sure how realistic that is as an alternative. It is an alternative, but I think there's some downsides if you're gonna wash them. I mean, the thing about most of this is through mosquito transmission. It also can be sexually transmitted, just so people know, right? And so that's both a risk when you're there, but also can be a risk if you contract Zika and come home, especially for men. You can pass on it on when you get home. So, and not everyone who gets Zika is symptomatic. So that's why it's really important. And the other thing is you can pass it on also to mosquitoes here, right? So it's really important when you get back to be careful, to continue to be careful if you're coming back, to use bug spray when you return from your trip for those couple months, because you could actually be part of making this problem worse here in this country if you don't do that to get the disease. Does that make sense? I read that it's another way you pass out is if you bite somebody, so don't bite it. I hadn't heard that one. So that's from human bites, huh? actually. Um, so, so I think that's most of it. I mean, I think Costa Rica is definitely a place where there's refs, right? Because
So I have a couple of questions
Sure.
because I noticed that I got my bites when I was, I'll call it careless. The days where I wore short sleeves one time and there was a mosquito in the house that I was staying in. And then one day I totally forgot and I wore capris.
Yeah.
Like the kind of cut off. And I, of course, like right under
Right.
My cap. That's where it happened. Again. By then I already had all the antibiotics. I knew what to do. But I also heard something recently about clothing color, and I wanted to check with you
I'm not
on that.
familiar with that.
So I heard
Dark
avoid dark
clothes. I guess dark clothes are worse for mosquitoes in general.
Okay. So, and the reason I'm also bringing this up in case, we need to put some dollars aside to buy some things,
Right.
more light colored
Light colored
shirts or light colored clothing.
And it's hard because you're going to probably want light clothing in some ways, but you don't want it to be too light because like it doesn't give you as much protection. The mosquitoes mostly don't think if it's reasonable, not like gauzy. They mostly go through other insects.
But I would suggest sleeves. We're going to be indoors for a good part of it, but when you go outdoors, things that are lightweight but long sleeve. Most of you are wearing long pants, so I wouldn't say have a practice of wearing shorts. Y'all can come on around the table. Please bring the chairs around the table. I wouldn't have a practice of wearing shorts while you're there. So if you thought, okay, I'm going to wear all my, tank tops and shorts or whatever, I would suggest err on the side of safety with long sleeves, longer sleeves, lightweight kinds of clothing.
Ideally, like tuck your shirt in. Right?
Oh, that's another one.
Even if you really want to be careful, even let's tuck your pants into your socks, right? Because that's like not much of a fashion statement, right? But if you have, if you're wearing pants and you have the pants open, they're going to go right up. So anything you can do when you're outside to kind of really cover yourself up and keep yourself covered is going to be helpful. So ideally, tucking things in, tucking your shirt in, tucking your socks in. Pants in your socks.
Yes. Well, most definitely. But I think one of the important things is that's not very finding heater, right? It's not like you're walking in and then you're gonna see
a swarm.
Mosquitoes around you and trying to cover yourself from.
Right.
And it's just trying to avoid places where you know that they are gonna be going outside right now in the forest or something like that.
Right.
Where you know that it's gonna be a lot of them around trying to protect yourself if you're going or you're planning to.
The plan, there is some free time on that Monday afternoon, and then on that Friday, there is a tour of the city. So there will be some outdoor times that are sort of planned, and then you can think about how you want to spend that time. And like I said, when I was there, I went outside, and I even though I got bitten, once I covered up and made sure I was sprayed down, then I was fine. It's when I forgot to do it, or I thought, I'm safe, and I was here buzzing around in the house. I was visiting somebody, and I just went, I'm not thinking about it, and then I was wrong. So for people who just walked in, thank you for coming. Just so you know what was going on, I gave a general overview. We have 20 people who are going on our trip. Some people are tuning in online, but this is Dr. Bruce Herman, who is the director of our University Health Services here at UMBC, and so he took some time to come over this afternoon to sort of give us some information about Zika, about prevention, and different kinds of things. So for people who just came in, including Rosemary Parker and Michelle Deli, who are part of College Park's LACCEI program, and Rosemary Parker is one of the co-PIs of the LACCEI program. did you all have any questions for Booster related to this? Even if it's something we repeated before, it's best to.
And I put together like a box resource for you all that you will send out to everybody. This is sort of a quick summary that I just pasted together, and these are some resources from the CDC and then from the EPA. Here's the one that's on. I think it's already up there. It's specifically about Costa Rica. But basically, what that says is that the areas you're going to be in are places you have to worry about mosquitoes. And then just strategies for how to avoid what the. And then there's actually a really cool resource called Choosing Insect Repellent, but actually the APA put together. You can talk about what kind of protection you're looking for, how long you want it for, and it actually will give you all kinds of suggestions. If you're really into doing your own research, that's what you can.
Or our research.
Yeah, so I figured that, right? So.
I'm not sure if you guys have concerns with vaccinations or the expected to be any vaccinations.
I didn't. Do you have any fun? I hadn't planned to.
I don't know what's required.
Usually what they suggest is when you go outside of the U.S., and especially to countries in Latin America, to be sure that you have like the hepatitis B and C on time, or like that you have it at least or something like that. It's not completely required unless you're going like in the middle of the jungle, but it's just good to have it.
It's generally a good time to make sure that everything is. If you're not at a school that requires you to have everything up to date, just make sure it's up to date.
Pretty much.
And most of the stuff you have to be.
And our trip is a conference. It's not like we're going to be doing ecological, kind of samples in general. We do have some people who are out doing that this summer, but we're not in that.
Is the conference in a hotel?
It is in a hotel, yes. The hotel is part of a former coffee plantation. The organizers are extremely excited about the hotel. They started out 2 years ago, so I've been hearing about this hotel.
I know. I don't know if you guys have an opportunity to actually Google it, but I saw some pictures. It looks so cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think so. Other questions for Dr. Herman before we sort of make sure that we have some other introductions and then get into what's going to happen?
Yeah, so like waterborne stuff, like should we be doing only bottled water or
Yes.
yes.
No ice.
Oh,
No, that's frosted drinks.
Unless you make your ice with
So I'm thinking like a little tricky stomach.
Yeah.
I should probably bring some.
yeah, so that's a good point, Jay. Know some of your own, health conditions and guard against whatever your vulnerabilities are. So don't think, okay, well, I'm just going away and I'll just kind of wing it. So make sure that you have, if you have medications or all of any of that, make sure that it's in your carry-on luggage. I did have a friend, I called her my Hermanita, my little sister, who her luggage never arrived. And so she was there for months without luggage. Like the first week I was giving her hair care stuff, and she was borrowing shirts and so forth. So I would say if you can pack light, try to. And I don't know how the system is in the airport now, but that was a very troublesome experience for her because she had like her charger for her computer. She had I think she had traveled in her contacts and put her glasses in her bag. It was something like that. So there are things, how many of you, most of you have traveled before, if there's anyone who hasn't, they always say for your carry-on luggage, don't put anything in your checked luggage that you can't do without. So medications, if it's with jewelry, that's really expensive. You don't want to put any of that, any of your computer peripherals, you don't want to put any of that in your checked luggage. I try to only travel with carry-on luggage in terms of like how you fold your clothes and make things really small. So I try to have, and I have a huge backpack, so you're going to see my big old, you know, my big old backpack with my one roller bag. And even though Southwest says, you know, well, Southwest you can travel for free with 2 bags. You don't have to pay for your 2 bags, but it's just something to think about. Just something to think about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
It's really
Appreciate it. And we'll put his resources up. So I am developing a website. It is still under development where it's going to have all of the things that you need. I'm so sorry it's not up yet. It's getting there. But it's going to have this, it's going to have all of his resources. It's going to have the schedule, etc. I'm going to go through the sort of the daily parts of the schedule. This is a unique kind of trip because it also serves as a research type of trip. And the way, we have an IRB for it, so in case you're wondering, you know, is this legal? Can we really ask these questions? We have an IRB because the way that the research is done is that you will be blogging on a daily basis. So on the website itself, there's going to be a part where you will be, I will ask a question, I will pose a question to you on the website, and then I will expect everybody to write an answer to it. And I think we're starting it next, what did I say, the 15th, I think. So I'll ask something like, what are you expecting to receive from the conference? We'll start there. And then as the conference starts to build, as I notice certain things, maybe about women in STEM, maybe about how does it feel to be in a different country? Are you making colleagues? Are you following through and meeting new people? I'll ask you questions about that. We will sometimes have breakfast meetings together where we'll have conversations, and then I might ask you about conversations. There will be certain sessions that will require everyone to go to, and then I will ask a question about that session. We have a protocol with the way that we travel to LACCEI. We go to all of the plenaries, and we get there early, and we always sit in the second or third row as a group. So let me give you sort of a background, and I wanted to get a cookie, so please give me a cookie.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to get there on Sunday. Most of us will get there, I think, Sunday, late morning, early afternoon. I have to still decide how we're going to schedule Sunday structure. So there's some parts of that that are open. I should have all that taken care of by next week. Monday morning at 10 o'clock, we will have a session with Dr. David Delane from Ohio State, who is our mentor, our guest mentor. And the session is going to be in a room that is to be determined because it's probably not going to be a conference room. It'll probably be my room, which is a bigger room that I'm going to be sharing with a couple of people, or it might be like one of the business center rooms. So whatever room we get that will fit, 15, 20 people, that's the room that we're going to get for that. And he's going to talk about, his family is from Costa Rica on his mom's side, so he's going to talk a little bit about the culture of the land. He's going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a researcher because he was a former LSAM student when he was at Drexel. He will talk about what it means to think about your research and presenting research nationally and internationally. And then he's going to be open for any kinds of questions that you might have. He'll be with us for the entire week. For those who just came in, I mentioned that he is one of the co-founders of SPEED, which is one of the organizations that is putting on the student pieces of the program. SPEED is the Student Platform for Engineering Education Development, and I was mentioning that they have chapters now in the U.S., but primarily in Latin America and India. Those are the biggest places where they are. Dr. Delane's co-founder is Dr. Jennifer DeBoer, who is not going to be there, but Jennifer was actually a postdoc with our own Francis Carter Johnson, who was one of our Promise AGAP peer mentors back in the day. Faculty member at Purdue. Some of Jennifer's students, I think, will be at this particular conference. So on, I believe that there's breakfast that comes along with your rooms. So everyone should have breakfast taken care of on a daily basis. There will be this session from 10 to 12. We'll probably figure out something for lunch together, and then you will have Monday afternoon free. I will try to look to see about if there's some tours or something. If you want to do that on your own, you will have to pay for any external things like that on your own. So the money system in Costa Rica is colones, and it is, you will have to change your money. At most of the places that I have been to, you can go to the ATM and you can get dollars and you can get colones, so you can get either one. You just choose which one. The exchange rate is usually higher, I have found, than ATM machines. Sometimes what people do is they may exchange a small amount of money at the airport or a small amount of money at the hotel, and then they'll get the rest from an ATM machine. We are developing a transportation. We're working out transportation to get everyone from as long as everyone who's at least in our delegation going at the same time, to get from the airport to the hotel together. So we're working that out. So in other words, there's no cost to you for that. The other thing that we're working out in terms of cost is providing you with per diem in advance. So for those of you who are here at UMBC, there's going to be, you'll receive a message from Yara, who will tell you what day to come to the 3rd floor of the administration building to sign off on it'll say working fund, and they'll give you $315 in a check, and you cash that, on Friday or Saturday, whatever day. So you have cash.
I don't think they're gonna be ready until Friday.
Okay.
But they're gonna request an ID for you to actually get the check.
Yes.
And it's a regular check, like you can deposit in whatever way you usually do in your bank.
Yeah.
Some of them are like through a photo in your cell phone or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For people who are not from UMBC, I will have your money with me. So if we're going to see each other at the airport when we leave on Sunday, I will ask you to sign something, and then I will give you your $315 in cash. For others, however much it is, if you're going on a later date, it will be prorated based on the day, so it'll be a little less. I think for however many days you're going to be there, and I will have your cash for you. And we're doing that for 2 reasons. Administratively, it's easier for us, so that you don't have to necessarily do a lot of reimbursement when you come back. But also, we found that it's really helpful for you to have some money to travel with up front, so you're not trying to, you're not breaking the bank, trying to go and figure out, okay, well, can I get a sandwich, or can I parse out, okay, I can only, share something with somebody else, while I'm on this trip. At least you know that you have the money. The per diem for Maryland is a little over $40 a day, and that's where the $315 comes from. So for anyone who's coming a little bit later, yours will be a little bit less. Okay, so that sort of lays out Monday. Tuesday morning is a big day, because Tuesday morning is the first day of the name of it is the FLAY conference, and it stands for, it's like floral, I forgot the rest of it, but it's basically the Latin American Student Forum, and they have a conference. They do this every year. It's like a pre-conference. On the first day, usually on Monday or Tuesday, they have a conference that's just for the students. And they're really focused on mobility. So you will get a chance to meet other primarily undergraduate and graduate students, but primarily undergraduate students who are from the Latin American countries. And they invite people from the various schools and universities. And what I am asking is if those students who are undergrads or undergrads transitioning graduates who you are registered sort of as conference participants, and I'm asking you to participate in the conference activities. For staff and graduate students and graduates, we're asking you to be mentors, to observing kind of mentors. You're observing how all of this works. If there are questions, if students have questions, they may come to you and just say, oh, I hear you're from the University of Maryland, College Park. How can I apply to that university? And, you know, are there opportunities? The thing we always get is, are there scholarships or fellowships for students, you know, who are even international? But you might get questions, you know, what do you recommend, what do you suggest? So there will be people who ask. Yes.
Can I keep my questions?
No, go ahead.
So I guess maybe we should do a poll of who speaks Spanish, because I'm just thinking now, like, even though I travel internationally with conferences,
Yes.
I'm very used to, like, everything speaking English.
Okay.
I just had a little bit of, like, oh my God, who do I need to sit near or be near, like, just in case I'm
So there
who's
will
not
be,
Dr. Talk, because I was like, okay, that's great.
so my Spanish is so-so. Yara is fully fluent. Hector is fully fluent.
Wait, raise your hand. Oh, okay.
Yara is fully fluent. Hector, Medina, I know Hector. You mentioned about the. Okay. So Hector Medina is going. He's been to just about all of the LACCEIs that I've been to. He's fully fluent. David Delane, who will be there as one of the mentors, guest mentors. He's fully fluent. And there will be students who will be there.
Autumn Reed will be with
Autumn
us.
Reed will be with us.
I don't
She's fully
speak
fluent.
any
That's okay.
I didn't even take it in school.
No, that's okay.
Well, something that you need to be prepared for is most of the students speak
English.
really
Okay.
good English.
Yes, yes. Now, along that line, when we get to the main conference is bilingual. And the beauty of it, you'll love it, the beauty of it is that if you don't speak Spanish, you give your ID to the translation people. There's a whole little section of the room where they exchange the headphones for your ID. And so then you'll have the headphones. Yeah. So, yeah, just, you know, something. So that is one of the things that they do at every lesson. Some of the breakout sessions are not always in English. But if there's one that you want to go to specifically, and you find that if you're with somebody, they can translate. And then sometimes we have another person who's sort of he's like an external mentor. His name is Dr. Kevin Huggins, and he's a professor at former military. He's a professor at Pennsylvania, but he does some things with us, and he's fully fluent. So he has even done some translation. We had a person from Haiti last year who was a dean from Haiti who needed to speak in French, and he was translating like the French to the Spanish to the English, you know, for the group. So it's a very nice, you know, multicultural, multilingual kind of experience.
Question about the breakout sessions. Do you have any chance to do lists on the sessions whether or not saying they were going to be in English?
They do not. They do not. No, the breakout sessions, it depends on the language preference of the speaker, because the breakout sessions are going to be paper presentation sessions. So last year, our session was, we actually did it was in Spanish, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did our session in Spanish, and we did some pieces in English. This year, it's going to be in English, but the slides are going to be in Spanish. So it'll help you to kind of, you know, to learn different things. Does anybody else speak Spanish? A little bit here and there. So there's some basic things. Would you like to give some of the basics?
Max knows a lot about Spanish.
Okay. There are the basics. Good morning, buenos dias, in the afternoon, buenas tardes, hola. There are the The warmth level is different, so there's a lot of hugging, and there's a lot of like, you know, a kiss on the cheek usually is a greeting hello. That doesn't mean that you have to comply, but there may be some people, if they're meeting you for the first time, and if they're not, you know, if they're not really thinking, okay, I need to kind of hold back a little bit, they may come up to you and give you a little kiss on the cheek. It's not a two-cheek. Two-cheek is European, although one of the president coming in from LACCEI is from Portugal. So he would do a double cheek. Yes. His name is Jose Carlos Quadrado. Really cool guy. The president this year is Dr. Cecilia Paredes, who I think that she might have, no, she didn't do LSA, but she was involved, she knew LSA students when she was a graduate student at Rutgers, but she's from Ecuador, and she's a provost now at the largest and most prestigious engineering school in Ecuador. It's called ESCO, and it has a dance group. But you're going to have, believe me, you're going to have a wonderful, life-changing, fantastic time. So Tuesday, again, is the LACCEI conference, that student conference, and there are all kinds of different things. I'm going to go through the schedule when I go through online and outline different things. I'm going to put the whole thing there, and then I'm going to outline specific things to make sure that you are there. So let me just show you here so you can at least see online. So this is one of the schedules that I'm going to put online. And they do everything in military time. Okay, so you can see like 900. And this isn't not as clear. But let's start with, they're starting with Wednesday. Maybe I should start with Tuesday so you can see that. Let me start with Tuesday so you can see the what's happening this Tuesday. Okay, so this is what we're going to be involved with here. So the OAS means Organization of American States, and EFTA, that's another organization that's international, and the FLAG, this means this is the student forum. So when they have all of this blocked out, that means that they have, you know, all the different things that are going to be available for the FLAG conference sort of compact, and it will be in the hotel. This is different from when we went to the LACCEI conference in the past, where you would get on the bus for the pre-conference and go to a local university. They weren't able to work that out this year, and they decided to just make it easier for everyone logistically and keep everything in the hotel. So this is Tuesday. So while we're in this section, there will be other meetings that are going on for accreditation. LACCEI is the Colombian version of the National Engineering Education Association. They're going to have different meetings and workshops. You see there's a Haitian Deans Initiative Working Group. So there's all kinds of things. So when we're talking about Latin America, the Caribbean, they're really trying to get everyone involved. So let's go to the conference schedule so you can see what that looks like. Now you'll notice that where it has conference opening and then a plenary session, this is where, and let's see what time, it's going to be early in the morning, so it looks like 8:30, if I'm looking at it correctly. That means that we need to be there at 8 o'clock, dressed, ready, finished with breakfast, and in the second row. What we usually do, usually there's somebody like Ade, and if you, so Ade Keshiku is like 6'4", and so he usually is one of the people who is up early and saving the seats, and whoever gets there first, you go to the second row and you like put your, you know, whether it's your laptop or your sweater or whatever it is, and we save seats until everybody gets there, and we're seated. And it's a standard. This is how we present ourselves. Okay. And so we're going to be there early for the opening session for this plenary session here on Thursday, and then you see that there's poster sessions here. So there's not this plenary session, but there's this plenary session here on Friday. So we're going to make sure we're there. So those are the big pieces. You will notice in terms of dress, there is a welcome reception, which is going to be whatever your regular clothing is that you wore during the day. There is a gala dinner and culture show. You do dress up a little bit for this. It's not black tie, but you know, for ladies, a nice dress or a pantsuit. For gentlemen, usually the guys will have ties on. So think of it as a gala. A nice, if you think, okay, for everything else, do I have to wear a tie? Can I just wear an open shirt? Can I just wear an open shirt and jacket? Yes, you can for these. This is a dress up. So let's talk about your attire in general. This is a business professional conference, so we will not have jeans and t-shirts for anybody during any of the sessions. So it has to be for gentlemen, open collar shirts. You can wear a tie, you don't have to. Ties are optional. Jacket preferred if you have one, because we want to present that image. There will be people who are totally, fully dressed up. There will be ladies who will wear their heels and their dresses every single day. So there are different cultures. When you start going to international conferences, there are different cultures in different parts of the world. In Latin America, it is a bit more dressy. So like I said, the women do wear a lot of heels and dresses. The men do wear ties and jackets. At least that has been my experience.
Yes, it's a little more formal than
Yes. So, like, I would not wear this to a session. If I needed to wear something like this, I'd probably have like my scarf draped. I wouldn't wear something that had denim. I would make sure that the pants are black. I'd have a skirt on with this. So that's something to keep in mind. Thursday will be a really big day for us because there is this special session right here in the afternoon. Minority and Diversity Forum. In Spanish, we used to call this Mujeres en STEM y Diversidad, which is the Women in STEM and Diversity Forum. And I don't know, they may change the name of it again, but this is the session that I'm actually hosting. And Dr. Autumn Reed from UMBC is going to be on the panel for this. The president of LACCEI is going to be on the panel for this. And we're going to be talking a lot about career-life balance. Part of the theme for the conference and our participation is how do you invoke career-life balance when you're thinking about traveling internationally. And this all came from a grant that we had from NSF a couple of years ago, where they were initially looking at women and women of color who had not traveled at all. And they were already in faculty positions and they had not had any international experience. And so the question was why? Why had they not had these kinds of experiences? So there were different situations. They had not been invited. They had not had funding. There were no colleagues to bring them along. But career-life balance issues were also part of that. So there will be some discussion, and it will be important to get both male and female perspectives of what you think about career-life balance. Because you all, whether you may have families, or you'll have labs, or you'll have mixtures of men and women in your labs as your bosses. When you become faculty members, etc., and these are some things you have to think about. We had a situation earlier today where someone was talking about the chair of their department and how the chair of the department is changing the culture because he has had a lot of women, faculty, grad students, and postdocs who have suddenly become pregnant, and they've had to manage how the workflow is in the department. And so rather than look at that, hello, Hector, rather than look at that as a negative, he looked at it as a positive, and he basically changed the culture of the department. So this is something where there will be a lot of different kinds of questions. There will be some time for reflection. You can ask anything at the mic. Whenever they have sessions, the way that they interact with the audience, usually they will have a mic station at different parts of the conference room, and they'll ask you to stand up and go to the mic and line up and ask your question. And we have had people from our group go up to the mic and ask questions, and I encourage you to do that. Now, who is presenting the paper? Who's presenting? Poster or paper? Okay. So Max, Sadi, and yours is together, right?
Yeah.
Is yours with them?
No, it's separate.
Yours is separate. So Max has. So I'm trying to count how many people have one. So
presentations.
Max,
How many?
yes. How many presentations?
So
Okay. All right, so at least 4, and then we have to check to see if there is anyone online yet. So what we want is when, we'll find out what the times are and what it is. We want everybody to support each person at their posting. Ask them questions, take pictures, and so forth. And we want to make sure that everyone has good support. Okay. On Friday, you see in the afternoon, this networking tour is a tour of the city of San Jose. The city of San Jose is really interesting because it's a very old city, and especially in the center of a lot of Latin American cities, they have a square or a plaza where it's sort of surrounded. Usually it's standard. There's like a bank, a church, and like maybe a restaurant. There's something else. There's a little park or something. And so there's a plaza. Near the plaza, there's this beautiful theater, old theater, and so you get a piece of the history. There's some museums. So I don't know what the exact pieces of the tour are, other than that it's a city tour. So I'm expecting that all of us will go on that together. We really relish having memories of these kinds of things. So please feel free to take pictures. Ade usually brings his camera, and he has fantastic pictures. So sometimes he might say, okay, we're going to pose here, or do this over there, and we have good things to report. This is also important for us when we report out, back to our, I think, when we report out, because NSF in particular, they wanted to make sure that students are having an international experience, and for those who did not get a chance to come, we need to have things so that they can see what they can take advantage of the next time. Because if we get more money, and if things go well for our various grants, then we'll be able to continue to take people, and it will start a really nice trend and precedent so that all of our students will be internationally competent scientists and engineers. Yes.
Is the walking tour really, or is it a walking tour? Is it a bus tour?
There will be, as I understand it, there's a bus that will take, because the hotel is sort of in its own area. So it's not like you can walk out the hotel on the street and then you're downtown. So there's a bus, I believe, that will take you to a certain spot and then let you off. And then you go and walk around and all of that, and then they'll tell you where to pick up again. Now, in San Jose, because a lot of people are coming to San Jose to kind of see it, they have like this standard bus depot sort of place. And but they'll tell us all of those kinds of things, like where the pickup is, and if we just, we'll just remember who's with us, so we can make sure we have everybody together again, and go from there. Let me say something else about the gala and the culture show. The gala and the culture show, they're going to have, usually from the home country, they'll have dancers, they'll have music. There's a lot of dancing from everybody. And the expectation is that everybody gets up and dances. It doesn't matter. I love this part of the section because it doesn't matter how old anyone is. It does not matter what their position is. They could have been, senior most distinguished professor, grand poobah, whatever. They get up and dance. If there are grandparents there, they get up and dance. If there are friends or family or guests, everybody dances. It's a lot of fun. It breaks down, barriers. You get to know people. You'll see the president dancing around the executive director. You'll see people on the board of directors, the board of trustees, and everybody gets up and dances. Hector, am I right? You're not excited all
Yes. I have a great video of Dr. Tom. So he was maracas and something else. I don't even know what you call that. And I have a video of like 5 minutes of Dr. Tom like. She was sitting down, but that thing was. She almost made fire with that. Dr. Esparragosa will also say the same thing.
Oh no, okay, we will not show that video. Anyway, it's a fun time. You will really enjoy it. They put a lot of usually thought and really feeling and emotion into it. That is what I have for you right now, Hector. Since you're going to be one of our This is Hector Medina, and I said he's been to several of the LACCEI conferences. Can you come up and join me in the front for anybody who may be online? And then I think we'll have to end in a couple of minutes because we're at that 5 o'clock mark. But can you give a couple of,
Over there? Last time I was here, it was in the hot seat.
It won't be that kind of. But if you can give maybe some impressions, some things that they should think about going to LACCEI. So Hector, as I said, Hector, Ade, they are going to be sort of your peer mentors in charge because they have been to the conference before. They know several other people. And then with Dr. Delane, he will be our other one. Of course, Yana has been to the conferences before. She's well aware of all the different, not only logistics, but how the conference works and the people there, etc. So you'll have several of us who are used to or know parts of this environment. So it's not like we're just venturing into somewhere new.
It feels like that. I've been telling some of the guys that it's, culture-wise, you're going to get a lot of questions asked because there's a lot of interest to see how they could actually eventually try to come study something. So expect, I guess, that. And the interactions will be like, hey, I do this. A lot of them, most of them are engineers. At least a lot of them from speed that we've met. They're all undergrads, and they're just pumped to get information. So as much as, I guess, your path through grad school, how to get to grad school, and what you've been doing, the kind of projects you can work with. Some of you guys are recent in this process. So kind of that, it's essentially shared with them.
So you said that they were mostly students. They will mostly be students at the FLAY conference on Tuesday.
Yes.
But on Wednesday, it's primarily going, the students will be mixed in, but it's primarily going to be faculty.
Oh yeah.
So once you get to the main,
once we get to lunches and stuff.
yeah. So mostly faculty. Practice, if you have not already, how you introduce yourself. So the idea is that when you meet people, you want to give them your full first name, last name, and what you study in your school. So, oh, hi, how are you? My name's Renetta Tull, and I'm from the U.S. at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and my background is in electrical engineering and computer science. So you don't say, hi, my name is John. Or if somebody says, hi, how are you? Or where are you from? Maryland. You want to be effusive in this, right? There will be people who will be excited to meet you. Again, the executive director knows that we have a big group from Maryland. They've been telling people that we're bringing this big group from Maryland, so they are extremely excited. Oh, she did? Okay. So make sure that you are ready to meet a lot of people. Put your energy on. You may need to, sleep a little bit extra the night before because you're going to need to gear up, for that energy, for meeting people. I will likely be introducing you all to a lot of people. So if I pull you up.
No, yes. It's going to be one of those things that as soon as you show up and you just start walking through, the initial one is going to be the table once you register. Because we're going to be talking to the guys that essentially did the whole thing for us to get there. So I know in this case, the engineer who we were talking about, so when we submitted our abstracts, and we were talking about the posters and who we get the emails from, oh, okay, so it's going to be like, oh, put a face on it now. Questions like that.
Yes. So there will be times where, let's say I want to introduce you to the director. And so the executive director is Dr. Maria Lavando, and I'll be putting all this in. So there may be a time where I might, pull a couple of you aside, or I might take a big group and I say, Dr. Petrie, this is our group from Maryland. They're going to introduce themselves. And so then you would introduce yourself. Or I might do this more. I might say to Dr. Quadrado, who's the next president. So you'll be used to that. So don't be nervous or shy. I might pull you aside because I might having looked at your CVs, I might say, oh, you're really interested in robotics, you're really interested. Let me make sure I introduce you to so-and-so. And so I might pull you aside and say, I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so who's, interested in the same kind of work that you're doing. And I think that should be interesting.
And also ask questions. That's one thing I always tell my undergrads, and it's like, just ask. What happened, what was it, last year? Was
Oh, that remember to bring if you have like business cards.
oh yeah, that's what.
Please, so you can share. If you don't have one, like you can print them. It's really easy, nothing complicated. They don't need to be too fancy or anything. It's just name, last name,
Email
what university are you, and your email address, so you can share it in your case that you find like someone want to keep contact with. So.
Yeah, because even in fact, it happened to me it wasn't last year, it was last year?
Ecuador?
In Ecuador, where professors from Ecuador, they were talking about, I was interested in manufacturing, I was asking about the classes, and they were like, two guys that were on our table, and I think from there, the conversation went from full English to Spanish, like 20 minutes or something. Because I kept asking them questions about this stuff. They gave classes in manufacturing, they were talking about new additive manufacturing methods and all that. And they were saying how it's not really accessible for them to get any 3D printers. And for me, I mean, that was kind of, it wasn't a shock because I mean, we're from Mexico, same deal over there, but it was more of a, wait, you guys can't just order a bunch of them? And the guy said something like, what stuck with me was that he had a grant that was $5,000. And with that, he had to make it last for like, I think it was like 2 years. Yeah, so that was my face. And then I told the guy, I was like, okay, what are you trying to get to? And he was like, oh, I'm trying to get the guys into like digital manufacturing, rapid prototyping. And I was like, okay, cool. Have you looked at? And they were like, no, the 3D printers that we have. I was talking about Dr. Spence's 3D printers. And I was like, those are like $40,000. I'm like, he was like, yeah, no, those are out. I was like, have you looked at the lower end budget? I was thinking of Will and Bethel. And it was the printer class. Those are about $300. I think you can get approved. It's not the best, but you can do something. The guy never heard of it. And this was the faculty, right? This is the guy teaching the guys about stuff. And then I told him, I was like, dude, look at this website. And I was entertained, and it was really cool that he was actually taking notes of the stuff that I was saying. And this stuff that I just read on, like, I don't know, just see YouTube videos. So again, a lot of the interest is going to come from like the stuff that you have access to. And for us, it's just granted. We take it for granted. But for them, it's like, oh yeah, we do an MRI. Yeah. So I mean, the X-ray imaging is like, yeah, cool. We got to go to the hospital and set it up. So that kind of stuff. So kind of share what we can without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are there any questions again about Spanish language? Like just a quick thing that you're.
I was going to answer. I was just saying, they speak English as well. Those the other countries. Yeah, Latin American culture, for those of you that have not visited, there was a culture shock for one of my friends when they visited for their wedding, when we got married. He kind of said something like, I thought the English, or I was expecting the English to be a lot worse than when I showed up. Like in his head, he was comparing himself to speaking Spanish as Mexican speaking English, or kind of like in the same level. And he got by speaking English too. This was in decline, like border. Similar thing, or pretty close concept to all these students. I mean, they take classes in Spanish and whatnot, but they'll get by. It's kind of like mine or something. It's like really chopped. So they'll do similar things to just get by. Like they'll get the point of class. So yeah, if you guys get stuck with something where it's like a conversation turns into more like signs or something, you can definitely pull someone else and they'll help you out.
And anything that you can say, well, at least know how to say.
Yeah.
No, at least know how to say.
Hold up on the side.
Oh.
Por favor.
Yeah, teaching Saturday. Más, por favor. That's always good. More.
Por favor, please.
Yes, por favor.
Gracias.
Like,
Thank you.
You can go to the library and pick up a CD, you know, like to listen to your car over the next couple of weeks. And there's also Mango on the public library website. Everybody who lives in Maryland has the opportunity to get a public library account, and the Mango language database has over 95 languages in it, but certainly Spanish is the most extensive one in the database, and it's free.
And Duolingo is free too, and that's an app.
Yeah, make sure to learn the greeting. How's it going?
Well, tell them what it is.
Hola.
Last time.
What's that? No, I'm thinking the proper stuff that you because then you get into the culture, and now it's like, hey, and then you start talking to the professors that way, and you go, I shouldn't be. Yeah, so I guess I'll think of a list of all that. I can email it to you guys.
So you can put it on the website.
Or that too.
Yeah.
A blog about it, you guys can take it. Yeah, so it's a greeting, say goodbye, please.
So Yara reminded me yesterday that the saying in Costa Rica, the
Pura
theme is pura vida, which means like pure life, good life, life is good. So people say that sometimes when they say hello, they'll say buenos dias, pura vida, or they'll say that a lot. The other thing that I think is very interesting that I learned from Costa Rican culture because I lived there for a couple of weeks, instead of saying de nada for you're welcome, like if somebody says gracias, they'll say con gusto, which means with pleasure, or con mucho gusto, with great pleasure. So that's something that was different for me. Going to different countries,
Yeah,
that was
culture,
something that was
culture.
specific to Costa Rica. And when we have that session on Monday with David Lane, he'll tell you even more since his family. As we close, because I've been over a little bit, thank you for the extra minutes. Can we just go around again to make sure that we know everyone and all the pre-departure times and when we're leaving, at least the general group, that's all going to be on the website. Yes.
Do we need
A passport. Adapter.
No, you mean for the,
for your electronic?
no, it's just,
But you're reminding me something very
we're not going to Europe, guys, I'm sorry.
But you're reminding me of something very important, and that is there is a departure tax at the airport.
Tax.
Yes. So you need to save the equivalent of, I think it's $30 to $40, so you can get out of the country.
It's the visa thing for us to get out.
Yeah, for us to leave the country. I had totally forgotten about this, so I had taken, I usually save some money from different places that I come and save for my nieces and nephews, and I had to actually use some of it so they didn't get their money gifts because I had forgotten that I needed to get out of the country, and they didn't take American Express. And I think that they didn't have an ATM nearby or something. I don't remember. I'll try to look to have the information so I can see what it is. They'll give it to you in cash and in colones.
If everybody's gonna need to pay for that, they will cover that, like to put it in the check that we're gonna request.
We might be. So you're gonna put it in line and I just give it to you.
Yes, I mean like to put it in everyone's.
Okay.
Oh, that.
So-
Let's try to do that. Yeah.
There was a big
I
also,
approve it, so we can do that.
also a note for the handling money, or at least the local currency. They take dollars, right?
They do, but they do colones.
Okay, so colones, they do the conversions at 500 or something.
Oh, yeah, the numbers are really big.
Okay, so you're gonna see bills. You're gonna see bills with a lot of zeros in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you just understand like the math on those. I think this one is like 500. So for every 500 is $1.
But you'll see things that cost like 15,000.
Or like, yeah, or like you almost like you start counting zeros and you go like, this is like a million and change. It's like, whoa. I think Colombia was like that, but it was like you knocked out 3 zeros on that. So yeah. Yeah.
But it's
keep
like
that in-
500, so it's like you take down a couple zeros and cut it in half.
Yeah. Just keep note of that.
Okay, so let's do our rounds once again, and then we will dismiss.
I go first. Dr. Medina, who is from the Department of Chemical Engineering. The fourth or fifth.
PhD.
PhD.
BC. Okay. That's
So
good enough.
sixth year in grad school.
Okay.
What else?
That's it. That's it.
I'm on watch study.
Okay.
Too much?
Oversharing.
My name is Christopher Chester. I'm a rising junior bioengineering major at the University of Miami College Park. Hello, my name is Maxim Sotobrani. I'm a PhD student here at UMBC in mechanical engineering and finishing my fourth year.
Good afternoon, I'm Rosemary Parker, University of Maryland College Park. I'm the co-PI on the LSA program and director of policy for minorities and science.
Hello, my name is Sadi Habib. This is my third year in mechanical engineering program, PhD program.
You were a BD fellow.
BD fellow.
He also loves watching.
My name is Roy Anderson, recent graduate from the University of Maryland, also in mechanical engineering and going to geotechnical. Shep Williams, also from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Recently graduated in December, and we'll be going into archaeology.
I'm Sam Wu. I am a rising fourth year PhD student at LACCEI of Maryland at College Park in material science engineering. Oh, yeah, BD fellow.
Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Ugali. I serve as the LSA program coordinator at the University of Maryland College Park and also the University of Maryland.
Hi everyone, my name is Jane Ayers. I'm a recent doctoral grad from Duluth State University in computer science. I'll add from the last time my dissertation research was in software development technology, and I also have done research in ICT education, so this type of experience and skills.
I'm Bert Lutty, computer science major at Duluth State University. Pharmacy got since 2014.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy Medina. I'm the Promise Coordinator and the Coordinator for Student Development and Political Affairs here at UMBC. I do some research with underrepresented students in pursuing grad school and women and stuff.
So we're going to have a wonderful group. I mentioned that there were a couple of other folks. Sanji Jangha, who's one of the co-PIs on LSAM here at UMBC. Dr. Tracy Bell, who is a faculty member at UMBS in biology and also an LSAM co-PI. There are some other students who will be joining us. There are some folks who are doing their internships who will be flying in to join us. So we're going to have a group of 20 all together. Our cohort will be one of 20, plus Dr. Autumn Reed, who is from the Provost's office. She is coming, her daughter is going to be with her, Elena, so you get a chance to meet Elena. And so there was a question about who speaks Spanish. I think we were saying that there were several. Dr. Reed is another person who speaks Spanish. She's fully fluent. So there will be enough, and we will have a wonderful. So I am so sorry that I don't have all of the stuff that I wanted online, but I will get it done. It will get done, I promise, and you will get a chance to see all the details. I'll try to put as much detail there as possible.
And all this information will be in the same page where we posted the information for the blog, right? So the LSM webpage?
I'm actually putting it on the Promise webpage. Yes, so I made it on the Promise webpage. But on the LSAM page, I will have a link to it so you will know how to get there. And again, there are 2 grants that are funding this trip. There's the LSAM grant and there's the International Engagement Grant. I talked to the program officer of the International Engagement Grant, so he's also very excited that we're doing this, and he said if all goes well, then we'll get a chance to apply for more money.
Should we put those numbers on the acknowledgements, the posters, and the presentation?
Yes, you can. So I'll try to again get that out there.
Oh, and just a quick note that I just remembered. For those presenting a poster, with Southwest, we had a problem before that they count the poster as one of your luggage on top of the plane. So it counts as a carry-on, just the poster itself.
Like with raw sticks, all the posters are on the same too.
I have a poster too, so like if you guys come to borrow that and you put them all together, I'm fine.
Thank you. Who is not going with us on Sunday?
Yeah, and then Gloria Sanji, and David, possibly Adam.
So, and we depart at what time on Sunday?
We are flying in 2 different flights, but we get there like with a 40-minute difference. So we're just gonna wait for the other part of the team to get there to actually get the transportation to the hotel.
Okay. Has everyone flown regularly, pretty much? So BWI, TSA, you know, you have to have your little, your carry-on, you have your plastic, your toiletries, you have to take your, unless you have free check, you have to take your computer, your bag. Southwest doesn't have movies, but they will, you can use your laptop or a mobile device to log into southwestwifi.com once you're on the flight, and they have everything.
You can download them all.
You can do either one, because you can just open it up the browser window.
Yeah, you open a
But
browser.
you might be easier.
You can access some things with some content is available through their app. Like the TV thing.
We had trouble downloading the app when we were on the plane.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. And the Southwest, how many people have not traveled Southwest? Okay, so Southwest does not have assigned seating. So I believe what's going to happen is everybody has received information about your flight, right? Like, so you know your flight. So if you don't pay on your own an extra $15, and if you're going to do it this week, they have, the way it works is that 24 hours before your flight, you have to log in, and then they give you a range, a seat range number. So if it says B12, that means you get into the B area after all the A's pass through, and then you sit there. So it's not like you get an actual seat assignment. You get a range where you line up, and you stand in line, and that's your place in line. The B's, you know, and 12, and you get in. If you want to get in early, then you have to pay for what they call early bird, and early bird means you don't have to remember to sign in. They give you an assignment, and usually it's somewhere between A1 and 60.
So you still have to do it. You still have to log in to do it. Just, we did it recently, we have to do it.
I mean, you still have to have a ticket.
No,
So you
but we
have to
still have to
log in.
log in and issue the ticket in order to get the number. It was in the A's.
You get the number.
It was in the A's, but
Yeah.
you still have to log in.
Right. So you still need to either, if you don't have the Southwest app, if you have the app, then you can just have it on your phone, and your ticket number is on your phone, and then you scan it. But you'll need to, you know, print out your ticket, or so you still, what Hector saying is you still need to log in to see whatever the seat assignment is, or the spacing that they gave you, so that you can get to your to do that. Yes, that's posted. Trying to get it right. Oh no, it's 10:02 a.m.
We did what they do is they still save those 8. Because even I tried to like grab it at the 24 mark, and you click on it, and it's like B40, and I'm like, really? 100 people already logged in.
So, question for those of us who are not traveling with you.
Yes.
Do you have any information about railroad considerations?
We don't put something online. We don't have it right now. But cabs are going to be readily available at the airport. And you just tell them you're going to the San Jose Marriott. That's probably what we're just going to do.
No, it's not.
Yeah, with the cabs.
Right, but like the taxis, they're inside the airport. Like you don't need to go out of the airport to get a taxi. Like you will see, you will just stand inside the airport, like with a.
Well, it's right. It's just going to be right out. So you walk outside, and it's right there. Through all mine.
Is that something that would be covered by per diem?
It's
something
it's
that
going to be
get reimbursed.
Yes. So I think for you all, I would have to give you your figures literally when we get there. Everybody else, if you're not from UBC, I'll give it to you. And you have to sign. Okay, great. Thank you very much for the time that you spent coming. I'll be here in the room for another 10, 15 minutes or so if you have other things. I have to sign something for Sarah because she is going to Japan to present her research in the fall. And her advisor won a special AGET Promise grant to help to send her to the conference. So we decided, and she won another grant to help her to go to add on to that. So let's congratulate her. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.
No, in here?
Have a pet.
Wait till you walk outside.
There's some bananas and cookies and snacks. Please feel free.
So there's a question. What was your question? Yeah, because you said you were not going to this.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You did the post?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to the shop for like January, but as soon as when I say, but now you're doing something. Yeah.